7 days. That's how long it took a Persian courier to ride 1,677 miles from Sardis on the Mediterranean coast to Susa in the heart of the Persian heartland. In a world where most armies could barely move 15 miles a day on foot, a Persian messenger covered the same distance in a week that a man on foot would need 3 months to walk. The Greek historian Herodotus, who watched this system in action with his own eyes, wrote one of the most famous quotes in military history about it. "There is nothing in the world that travels faster than these Persian couriers. Not the wind, not horses alone, not armies, nothing." And what powered the entire system, what kept couriers fed, armies marching, and the empire functioning, wasn't the road itself. It was a food and logistics network so advanced that nobody on Earth would build anything close to it for over 2,000 years. This is the story of the Persian Royal Road, the first true military supply chain in human history. To understand why this was so revolutionary, you have to understand how war worked everywhere else in 500 BC. An army marched until its food ran out. Then it stopped, or it stole from farmers, or it starved. The Greeks, even at the height of their power, could only campaign for a few weeks at a time because their soldiers carried their own food in personal bags. The Assyrians sent foragers ahead to strip the land of grain and livestock, but this slowed everything down. Egypt had supply boats, but only along the Nile. Nobody had figured out how to move tens of thousands of soldiers across continents without their armies collapsing from hunger, until Darius the Great did it. Around 500 BC, Darius I, the ruler of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, took an existing patchwork of older Assyrian and Median roads and turned them into something completely new, the Royal Road, a unified, government-maintained highway stretching 2,699 kilometers across the empire, from Sardis in modern western Turkey through Phrygia, Cappadocia, Cilicia, Armenia, and Matiyen, all the way to the Persian heartland at Susa. And here's where the genius came in. Darius didn't just build a road, he built an entire logistics ecosystem around it. Every 15 to 20 miles along the road, the Persians built standardized stations. The Greeks called them staphmoi. The Persians had their own word for the courier system, the angareon. Modern historians, working from Herodotus and from archaeological evidence, have counted at least 111 of these stations along the main road. Each one was a small fortified compound, each one stored grain, each one kept barley and dried meat in reserve, each one had fresh horses ready to ride, each one had a small garrison of soldiers to protect the supplies, and each one was funded, maintained, and supplied directly by the central imperial treasury. This was something the world had never seen before, a standing, government-funded infrastructure for moving people, food, and information across an entire empire. Think about that for a moment. The Persians had created a 1,677-mile-long supply chain, with distribution centers spaced like clockwork, with standardized stockpiles, with trained personnel at every node. Some historians call this the world's first professional logistics corps. Others call it the ancient ancestor of the modern military supply system. Either way, it would not be matched in scale or sophistication until the Roman Empire built its own road network 500 years later, and even the Romans would copy parts of the Persian model directly. Now here's how the system actually worked in motion. Imagine a Persian courier. He starts at Sardis with a sealed message from a regional governor. He rides hard for 15 miles, reaches the first station, a fresh horse is already waiting. A meal of barley bread, dried meat, and water is ready in seconds. He eats while the new horse is saddled. He rides on. The next station, 15 miles later, same routine. Some accounts describe the system as a relay, where one rider passes the message to a fresh rider at each station. while others suggest a single courier could ride the entire route by changing horses. Either way, the result was the same. A message could cross half of Asia in 7 to 9 days. Herodotus wrote that the Persian couriers wouldn't stop for snow, rain, heat, or darkness. They just rode. But the food network wasn't only for couriers. It was the secret weapon of the Persian army. While a Greek army could only campaign within walking distance of its home city before food ran out, a Persian army could march hundreds of miles without ever running low, because every 15 miles they hit a stocked depot. Barley for the men, fodder for the horses, spare equipment, spare arrows, spare leather, whatever a moving army needed. The Persian army didn't carry its supplies the way other ancient armies did. It moved between supply points. It used the road like a circulatory system, and this gave them a strategic ability that broke the imagination of every Greek commander who tried to fight them. When Darius wanted to crush the Ionian revolt in 499 BC, he moved tens of thousands of soldiers across more than 1,000 miles in weeks, not months. The Greeks thought it would take an army that size half a year to mobilize. The Persians showed up in time to crush the rebellion before the rebels could finish coordinating their plans. When Xerxes invaded Greece in 480 BC, the same system allowed him to gather an army described by ancient writers as the largest the world had ever seen, hundreds of thousands of men strong, and move it from Susa all the way to the gates of Athens. The actual numbers were almost certainly smaller than Herodotus claimed, but the logistics achievement was real and staggering. No one else on Earth could have moved that many soldiers across that much distance and kept them fed. And here's the strange historical irony. The Greeks defeated Persia twice, at Marathon and at Salamis. They wrote the histories. They became the heroes of the story. But underneath the storytelling, the truth is uncomfortable. The Greeks beat the Persians on the battlefield, but the Persians had built something the Greeks never even came close to imagining: a scalable supply system that could feed an army across continents. The Greeks could win individual battles. They could not win a war of logistics. Athens couldn't keep an army in the field for more than a few weeks at a time. The Persians could keep one moving for years. When Alexander the Great finally toppled the Persian Empire in 330 BC, one of the first things he did was take over the Royal Road and its station system. He kept the depots, he kept the network, he kept the food caches. He used the same logistics infrastructure built by Darius to march his Macedonian army deeper into Asia than any European army had ever gone. The Seleucid Empire, which inherited Alexander's conquests, also kept the system running. The Romans, when they encountered it later, copied many of its features for their own military road network. The Persian Royal Road outlived the empire that built it by over 1,000 years. And the depth of standardization in the Persian system is what blows the mind of modern historians. Every station was spaced consistently. Every food cache held similar provisions. Every garrison followed similar protocols. Imperial accountants in Susa could check records and know exactly how much barley was stored at any station anywhere in the empire. Persian administrative tablets discovered at Persepolis show detailed records of food rations, worker payments, and travel allowances. These tablets, written in Elamite cuneiform, are one of the oldest examples in history of a centralized bureaucracy managing food distribution at imperial scale. It's no exaggeration to say that the modern military supply chain, with its distribution centers, its standardized rations, its forward operating bases, and its logistics core, follows essentially the same principle the Persians used to feed couriers and march armies across Asia. The technology has changed. The trucks replaced the horses, the MRE replaced the barley loaf, but the structure is the same. So, tell me below, if you were a Persian courier in 500 BC, riding the world's first true supply line at full speed across enemy territory, would you have made the 1,677-mile run in 7 days, or would you have collapsed at the third station? Hit subscribe for more stories about the strange, brilliant systems that built the world we forgot. Alternate Past has more coming.